Just weeks after the U.S. issued its travel advisory, Canada has followed suit, warning its citizens to exercise a high degree of caution in the Bahamas due to high rates of crime. Our Jillian Gray has more on the story and what local authorities have to say about it.
That Canadian travel advisory spoke of muggings, home invasions, armed robberies, and sexual assault targeting tourists here in New Providence and in Grand Bahama. Robberies of cruise ship passengers in terminals, as well as in and around popular hotels. This added to frequent sexual assaults, particularly near hotels, in hotel rooms, casinos, cruise ships, and on the beach. Opportunistic crime, spiked food and drinks, and road safety. Also making the extensive list is the concern over safety during water sports. And again, authorities are hitting out at jet skis. According to the advisory, tourists have been seriously injured using these and other watercraft due to poorly regulated water sports rental industry in the Bahamas.
It's always concerning. There's no doubt about it. It's always concerning. It's not the first time. And so, after having said that, we continue to do what we need to do to bring those crime figures down and to make people feel safe.
That's National Security Minister Marvin Dames' take on the issue. And despite another such blow to the tourism industry, the man heading that ministry, Dionisio de Aguilar, maintains that Bahamians may just be too hard on themselves.
May I remind the public that 6.3 million foreign visitors come to our country each and every year. And yes, there are going to be a number of them that are victims of crime. But you know what? When I go to London, when I go to Paris, when I go to New York, I probably have just the same likelihood of being a victim of crime. But you know what we don't have here? I can walk down the street here, I can go shopping, I can go to any tourist attraction, and I don't have to worry about a terrorist.
Mr. de Aguilar again insists the Bahamas look at what's good and stop sensationalizing the one or two crimes that occur, adding that the conversation tends to linger on crime too long instead of talking about the thousands of people who come here and enjoy themselves. Meantime, the Canadian government has warned that travel abroad is a personal decision, and as such, its citizens are responsible for their own safety. For JCN News, I'm Jillian Gray.
In other news, civil aviation may have called off the search for remnants of last week's ill-fated plane, but North Androsians are keeping the faith that they'll at least find the remains of the fallen 6 on board that flight. As we've been reporting, the twin-engine Aztec took off from San Andros early Wednesday morning en route to New Providence. Unfortunately, it crashed in waters off Mastic Point soon after, killing all on board, including pilot Darren Clark. North Andros MP Carlton Bullag shared this update with our news team.
The Civil Aviation Department has concluded that they have enough evidence to go on to bring closure to their case because they found what they call is an investigative dream. They found the logbook and everything to identify and to confirm that it was the plane that went down. And from their standpoint, they close it. But we still have individuals out there who are volunteering and they are doing their part. We did widen our search to go beyond South Mastic Point, further south, because of the wind direction in which it was blowing on that day. And we're still finding parts of the aircraft along with other personal means items from individuals.
As for help with the grieving process, Mr. Bullag says counselors arrived on the island this morning.
As much as they can start to bring some kind of relief to the kids, and we're going to have counselors that are going to go down as of Thursday to really start dealing with the families. The one that is going down there today was assessment as to what recommendations we should go to from there. We're trying to cover as much as we possibly can to bring some relief, like I say, to the children, most of all, of the victims, and also to schools that they may have attended. And we do look to send someone down. There's a school which is in Bowensang, that is South Andros, that will do their part to try and help those students down that they deal with the loss of their classmates.
A memorial service is scheduled for Friday at 10 a.m. at the Cathedral of Mount Olive in Morgan's Bluff, Andros. Mr. Bullag is hopeful his parliamentary colleagues will be able to show their support. Rules and regulations no doubt called into question in the aftermath of that fatal crash. Aviation Minister Dionisio de Aguilar telling reporters this morning that the Civil Aviation Director has been given the green light to prepare a paper on how to clamp down on the industry.
The fact that the word hacker is so much a part of our conversation when we discuss aviation in this country leads me to believe that we've got a serious problem. So I told him, empowered him, I said, look, if we need to change regulations in order to tighten this up, let's do it. Then we should have a zero tolerance, absolute zero tolerance on persons dying in our aviation sector. And if that accident that led to the loss of life, which is a very, very sad event and devastating, if we don't attempt to change that paradigm so that when a Bahamian or when a passenger or a flying passenger gets on a plane, they can rest assured that that plane is being checked for airworthiness and that pilot has the appropriate license before they get on that plane, and we have failed in our mandate.
The minister says ultimately lives matter, so the fact that there's a vibrant taxi-style aviation industry means nothing, and he will not compromise the loss of life just to make a dollar.
If you go to those families down in Andros who have lost a loved one, they're asking why. And they're turning to the government and they say, how could we as a people have prevented this? And that's the most important thing. If you got to go and get your license, then go get it. If you got to have your plane checked, then have it checked. If you got to do the required maintenance, then do the required maintenance. That's the cost of doing business. And if you got to raise your rates to do that, then raise your rates. But it's more important that it's safe than no. So let's do what we got to do. Let's try and raise our status. Why do we always have to settle at the bottom?
You're watching JCN News. Stay with us.
This segment of the news was brought to you by Alive.